Okay, so really quickly, talking about the difference between adaptation and original writing for the Antigone playwriting options. So if I start with my original, and I've titled my sample original Polynices and Eteocles. So if I'm writing an original, that means I need to write it sort of in the style of the ancient Greeks, which means the language needs to be heightened, stage directions need to be very minimal, and so it also needs to be formatted similarly to how it is formatted in the play. Because remember, the plays were written as poetry as well. So the language is heightened, very different from the way that we write plays today, most plays anyway. So I've written here an example page or so of dialogue written in the style of the ancient Greeks, heightened language, and the PDF is available in the folder for you to look at. Now, this is wildly different than how I would write an adaptation. An adaptation, remember, I can sort of cherry pick different parts of the play and then pop it into what I want to use. So here's my adaptation. I've changed the title, Short Play Adaptation. At the top of a once mighty skyscraper, we can see dozens, perhaps hundreds of skyscrapers in the distance. Some are whole, others are damaged, some are completely destroyed. On the roof, Creon paces, raving to himself. He is clearly starting to lose his sanity. So, this is not directly pulled from the play. It's just inspired by it. It's an adaptation. So I have more flexibility in describing things in the stage directions. Here are some original lines that I wrote for Creon. Again, adapting some of the language of Creon's from the play when he's talking to Antigone and Ismene. Not everything, it doesn't need to be line by line when you're adapting, okay? You don't have to do exactly like, oh, well, in this he said this, so now he has to say this here. No. An adaptation means you can condense, you can play around with things. As long as it's the same characters and the same basic plot, it's a fair adaptation. So when Haemon enters through elevator doors, spots his father, quickly prepares himself. Prepares himself for what? Probably his father being crazy. You summoned me? Yes, I did. You have sworn to obey me in all things. Do you intend to uphold your oath? Flicker of hesitation. I will uphold my oath. You are my father and you are my king, right? So, again, this is not line by line. Father, I'm your son, you and your wisdom, I obey you, right? So I've clearly adapted some of that, but not all of it. Okay? So you get to have some room to creatively play and interpret, all right? Which is hopefully a lot of fun. Okay.